Welcome, everybody. My name is Mark Eisinger. I'm the Civitan International President from 2009-2010, and this is the Chesapeake Civitan District Recruitment Webinar, focusing on LinkedIn today. Last week we talked about Facebook, and the week prior to that we had a recruitment webinar. Both of those are available by YouTube video. You just have to have the link, and I sent that link out to all the area directors as well as people who have participated. So if you need that link, please check with them, or the website should also have it because Mary has been updating the website. We're going to have a lot of fun today. A lot of it also is going to be kind of like Facebook last week. We're going to have a lot of watch how I do it. We are going to have an agenda that will review the online district meeting presentation that we had in November. We're going to create a club group page on LinkedIn today. We're going to search for potential members and invite them to connect. That's what the terminology is in LinkedIn. And then once connected, we're going to invite them to join that group page that we created. We're going to communicate with our new connections through LinkedIn messages, and we're going to do posts and announcements from the group page. And then we'll talk about next steps to kind of get you started on what to do next. Now, there's a couple of assumptions we have. First assumption is that attendees here have already created an individual LinkedIn page, because we won't be going into that. Now, I did send a link with this webinar link to be able to watch a video that is out there on YouTube, and it shows you how to create that page and to be able to do other things on that, make connections and so forth. So the two things, attendees already have an individual LinkedIn page, and attendees already have connections. Those are the two assumptions we're using today. If that's not you, that's something that you can do on your next steps. And that video seemed to be helpful. It was about 17 minutes long. There's other ones out there that are much longer and much shorter, but that one I thought was a pretty good in-between version. The other thing is I want to mention that this is free. LinkedIn does charge for some optional packages, but the options that will be demonstrated today are all available at no charge. Some of you may want to invest in some of the other options. That is strictly up to you. If you're looking for a job, or you're looking for more increased ways to search and so forth, you can pay for those optional packages. But I want to try to show you everything that is free to you, so it's not a charge for your club or yourself. Okay, so reviewing the online district meeting information from November. The LinkedIn site is a resume and business-related social network. Unlike Facebook, this is more professionals that will be out here. The postings are more professional related in most cases. They're not as much, there are some political things out there, but thank goodness that's over with for now in most cases. They do allow you to post updates, photos, videos. You have connections rather than friends in comparison to Facebook. You still can like different postings from other people. You can share those postings. You can have a group page for companies and organizations, and through that group page you can post things, and you can do announcements, which I'll show you how to do that and the benefits of what the announcements will allow you to do. LinkedIn is the benefits overall is the awareness and targeted membership recruitment. This allows you to pick who you're trying to contact, whether that's geography or whether that is an industry or other types of search criteria we'll be able to do. Now, in the spring of last year and summer, we built the Capital Region Civitan Club. And so we used LinkedIn to search for people in the Harrisburg, Hershey area that have nonprofit interests. You can actually search for people that want to be on a nonprofit board or skilled volunteering. We asked those people to be a connection. This is kind of a co-project that Denise and I did last year. And once connected, we sent a message to these connections with the new club information and an invitation to join our group that we had on LinkedIn. We repeated those messages and invitations over, weeks at a time. And I would say that we had over 100 connections and probably recruited about 14 members in the Capital Region Civitan Club, either directly or indirectly through LinkedIn. So we thought that was pretty good. Now, it's not a one-to-one ratio. It's not going to, every person you connect is not going to join Civitan, but that happens when you meet people in chamber events, social events, other places that you go to. We have a question?
Mary DeCohen just wants everybody to know that we took the bait to join.
Mary DeCohen was one of our connections that we reached out to in LinkedIn, and she said they took the bait and joined, and then she's recruited at least 2 members now, I believe, her husband and our website person. So it's again, indirectly, probably more than 14 members because the connections just keep on multiplying. Now, again, this is just a brief review of the district meeting information. I want to do this live later in this webinar, but in this case, there's a little pair of magnifying glasses right here I want you to see. That's a search criteria, and then there's also an advanced search, and we'll be using those today during the webinar. This is a search that I created. Notice at the top it has that I'm searching second connections. Now, when you have a connection, that is a first connection. And then anyone else you're connected with, their connections will become your second connections. And then third would be anyone else that is the connections. So it's kind of like a family tree, so to speak. I also picked Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. Fortunately, that Harrisburg is a metropolitan area within LinkedIn. Some smaller communities won't have that, like Waynesboro and Frederick per se. Frederick will be either Washington, D.C. or they'll be Baltimore because of the distance that's similar. The other thing that you find in here is that you can see that they are shared connections. So he's my second connection, and I can click on this if this was live and see who we share a connection with. Here's one that has 2 shared, 5 shared, 14 shared. So you can see how some of these can be really good. You might not want to step on other people's toes, though, if you find out a connection is, like if another connection happens to be Mary, maybe I want Mary to go out there and contact this individual because they may be your first connection already. Also in the interest area down here is I have a nonprofit interest selected for skilled volunteering and board service. So each one of these is interested in being on a board or offering skilled volunteering according to their profile.
That's really cute.
And then another one here is that you will get notifications that so-and-so is now a connection. And now you can start communicating with that connection. You can create a message, a LinkedIn message that goes directly to them through LinkedIn. And in this case, I had one that is written to Nicole, and you can read that real quick here, about a meeting for the Capital Region in October. And I invited her to be in the LinkedIn group that we had created, so that way she can keep up to date with the formation. And then I found out that this down here says 7 people accepted my invite to join Capital Region Civitan group. So the group that I had created for Capital Region, also the notifications will show you that they joined. In the group, there's a way to send an announcement. And the neat thing about sending an announcement, it will go out as an email to the individual. It'll go to a post and then to the group discussion. So it basically goes out to 3 different sites or 3 different avenues to tell the members of the group what you're doing and what's going on. By the way, in the members section, you are able to assign certain people to be administrators. So similar to Facebook, you are able to have more than one administrator. And here's an example of the group page for Capital Region Civitan Club. You can click on Manage to go back to that where you do the announcements. You can invite others to join the group. We have 44 group members in here. Some are not members of Capital Region yet. Others, most of them are. And here's a reminder for the November 7th meeting that we had. And we'll talk about this in just a second further, but just to mention this before we go to LinkedIn, you continue this process by targeting new people in your community that you need in your clubs. For instance, you can indicate the industry or profession. So if you're looking for a banker or a CPA because you don't have a treasurer right now, this would be a great way to find someone in your area that is on LinkedIn that may already be a banker or CPA that would be interested in being on your board of directors and serving in that position. You can also use the nonprofit interest. You may need a new director for your board or get some new blood on your board, so for new ideas and so forth. This would be a great way for you to be able to find that person. So this is good for existing clubs, not just brand new clubs. Now, your search will continue because as you have second connections become first connections, then all of their connections are now your second connection. So you'll want to research for these same criteria so that you are able to find additional second connections. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch over. If you have any questions, this would be a good time because we're going to switch over to LinkedIn so that you are able to see how to do this. The first thing I would like to do is go ahead and go to groups. So this, I have already logged in, and this is basically the screen when you first log in. It has a little bit of information about myself. It has a feed, kind of like Facebook feed, that you can scroll through and see what other people have commented on and shared and liked and so forth. And you'll see that most of them are more related to business type of news, if you will, rather than personal information. Occasionally, you'll have somebody that says, you know, I'm proud of my daughter, or my son graduated from college, or, you know, you have some of those things, but in most cases, it's pretty business related, which is good. This is what that you want to do. I also want to show you my profile. I mentioned that it looks similar to a resume with a photo, and because I'm looking at my own, it has some questions to make it better of a page, and it shows some profile strength and so forth. These won't show on an individual who's looking at my page. Okay, I'll look at another version in just a minute. But I wanted to mention that if you don't have a job right now, let's say you're retired, go ahead and put volunteering, your Civitan experience and other volunteer experience as what you're doing today. Especially if you're recruiting people into Civitan and they look at your profile, you want Civitan to be pretty prominent. Now up here I have Civitan International in my previous, and if you scroll down, you'll see that I have Civitan International as one of my resume items down here, as well as down further, you can have, go scroll down here. After education, there's also organizations that you are a part of. And this is where I have that I was been a member since 1990. I'm going to go ahead and type in Denise's name so you can go ahead and see a version without all of the tips. You are able to change your background kind of cover photo as you can in Facebook. You can change your profile picture. Again, it has current and then it has previous. Denise is under the Washington, D.C. metro area because, again, she does not have, there's not a Frederick metro area. Here's, she has a summary, which I don't have on mine, but you can have a background summary. Here's her information about her position right now with the First United Bank and Trust. But here she has Civitan Club of Frederick, president and treasurer. So again, if somebody is looking for, well, why is she asking me about Civitan? She has the credentials right here, along with Maryland School for the Deaf and the foundation, Golden Mile Alliance treasurer, and see, she has a lot of volunteer information. Of course, she's been with the bank for 20 years, so this allows her to provide other recent things that she's done without having to have additional jobs. So it's a real good way. So it does have a few more things over on the right-hand side that come up, not to be surprised about that. There are a few other things over here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead then and switch over. You go to interests and then go to groups. And let me open up a document real quick, 1 second. All right, so this is the screen you get to. Now I happen to have Wells Fargo as one of my groups that I'm belonging to. But right here is where it says My Groups. So I'm going to click on My Groups. And here I've got Capital Region Civitan Club, and then we also have PADS Connect Civitan Club, which is the homeschool parents club that we are working on right now. There's also Civitan International, so you'll want to be able to join Civitan International group as well. Right over on the left-hand side is Create Group. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And today, I'm going to be featuring the new Gettysburg Hanover Civitan Club. That's what we used last week as well for the Facebook page. So again, I'm going to go ahead and pick a logo that we're going to use. And I've also prepared for this in the Gettysburg Hanover. I've got some different photos I can use. And I'm going to try the 100-year logo because I want to have that available. So it says the file's too large. Again, we talked about same thing with Facebook. In some cases, you may have to find a particular picture that is not too large. Okay, there's one that was able to come up with, so I'm going to use that for now. It says that you need to acknowledge that you can use this logo, and because you're part of Civitan, you are able to use it. We're going to use the tentative name of Gettysburg Hanover Civitan Club. And there's a summary here, description here. Now, in preparation, I did go out there and I created a Gettysburg paragraph. And now I'm just going to go and copy and paste that right here. Save some time here, but I'll show you what it says. Community Service Club in Gettysburg, Hanover, Pennsylvania, and surrounding areas. We are looking, so I get an extra punctuation there. We're looking for people that want to better their community through service projects that help individuals with disabilities, homeless, hungry, children, and seniors. And then in the description, you can put a little bit more information. Again, I'm going to copy and paste this from my Word document that I prepared. In this case, it says this club is part of Civitan International, a 501c3 worldwide nonprofit community service-based membership organization. Celebrating 100 years of service, our focus is helping individuals with disabilities, but our activities are customized to meet the needs of the individual communities we serve. If you are someone that sees a problem and wants to be part of the solution, join us today. I really like that. I didn't write it. I think I copied it from Denise or somebody.
Mhm.
By the way, I will email out these statements so you can customize them for your own. I'll have a few more of them that I'll copy and paste in here. Group owner email is myself, so I have that in there right now. You can make this an unlisted group. Those would be invisible on the member profile and not searchable. I don't want to do that. I do want this to be a group that is visible. If you do have a website, you can put it in here. Sometimes we'll put the district website or the international website. You can also have pre-approved members. You can do that, let's say, for instance, if I wanted to put Denise in here as a pre-approved member. Then she'd be able to go ahead and go right into the group when she wants to, without having to request permission. But then you can also invite, and I'll show you how to invite people into the group. Now you can do that. This group is based in a single geographic location. Now I haven't tried this yet. I'm a little reluctant right now because we do have individuals like Denise and myself that are not in that postal code. So I'm not going to do that right now, but this could be helpful if you want to condense it down to only a certain locale. And then of course you're going to agree to it, and then you're going to create the group. Now I'm going to go ahead and come up to the top again. We put in a logo. We acknowledged and agreed that the logo we can use. I put in a group name, entered a brief description about the group, and then a description of the group that's a more full description. I put in the owner email, myself, pre-approved Civitan Denise 16 to be a member, English language, and then I clicked on the agreement, check mark, and then I created the group. All right, there's an error. Let's see what that is.
Email domain. So it's saying like if you want to accept anybody from My Bank First United,
Oh,
you
okay.
would put at mybank.com.
Okay. Yeah, it appears that this would be only like if you wanted to do a certain, like gmail.com, which would be too wide of a range. But if you wanted it to be more for your company, that's where you could go ahead and put that information.
Or Civitan,
For school, or
like
if we had
Civitan.
somebody at civitan.org or something like that. Okay. So create the group. And here we have right here, it says send invitations to your connections on LinkedIn or even other contacts that are not on LinkedIn. And this is just a generic type of a thing that will come up. And I'm going to skip this step for right now because I want to go and show you how to do it on the actual group page. And guess what? We now have a group page. Gettysburg Hanover Civitan Club. Here is the summary information about the group that we indicated here. Here we have invite others. This is exactly where I wanted to show you where you can invite others. Now, again, they have to be your connections. So similarly to Facebook, they have to be your friends to invite them. Again, you have to do that in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select some individuals. There's Denise and Lori Lewis. Again, like last week, you have to type real slow on this for it to do the search properly. I'm going to invite Joe Toole. I want to make sure that we've got the individuals that are helping with us to charter this club. There's Joanne. And Matthew Staub. And that's all I'm going to do for now. I'll come back to that when I've got another example for you. But now I've invited those individuals into the group. Now, there's nothing really for them to see here yet. Over here is where you can put in a title of a conversation and then details. And then I can also add a photo of a picture of a flyer, a JPEG of a flyer, or one of those type of things in here as well. If I need to get back to the managing the site, again, this will only come up for those that are administrators. I am able to do what I want to talk to you later about is send an announcement. And again, that is what will go out to email, a post, and a discussion. Right in here in members, though, I want to make sure that I've got more than myself as an administrator. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can add Denise yet. She hasn't accepted the joining, but I'm going to see if I can add her.
Do you need to?
It looks like I do need you to accept that. And while she's doing that, I'm going to switch over and go to LinkedIn Home. And I want to talk about search. As I mentioned before, the search button right here is pretty powerful. And what you can see is on the left-hand side, it's going to come up with all people, whether they're first connections, second connections, or part of a group that I'm involved in. I'm going to uncheck group. I'm going to uncheck first. So now I'm only looking at second connections. And I want to scroll down to nonprofit interests. And I want to pick skilled volunteering. Scroll down again, it pops back up to the top. And I want to click on board service. So these are nonprofit interests that these individuals have indicated on their profile that they would like to provide skilled volunteering and board service. Now, some of these filters are only available if you have some of the priced features, some of the packages that let me say, for instance, if I put interested in, these selections are not available because I don't have the right package, haven't paid for it. So these ones that indicate with the NIN are not available for me with the free version, but that's okay. Now, the only thing else to worry about in this case is the location. Now, as I mentioned, if it is Washington, D.C., that is a metro area. That's fine. But if it's Waynesboro, let's see if Roanoke. Roanoke is, so that's a good one. And we have a question or comment?
Linda's asking, would it narrow the search to include location? And that's what you have to do up in the top.
Yes, it can with the location here. Or if I go to advanced, and this is where we can make this even more powerful. I can search on second connections, and I can look down here. It's already saved the board service and skilled volunteering. But right in here is a really neat thing, and it is located or near, and it has zip code. So Gettysburg is not going to be one that's going to be out there. So I'm going to pick a zip code that's in Gettysburg, and I'm going to pick 10 miles, because remember, you're looking at a postal code and then 10 miles outside of that postal code. So I'm going to go ahead and pick 10 rather than 50 and some of those other
They
ones.
didn't see that, so it's your top. It was the top one that you picked. It was just a black box for them.
This one here?
No, click it again. Click that again.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, it's the top box there that says 10 miles. Apparently it's showing up as just a black box on yours, so that would be 10 miles there. All right, so to review, my advanced search is second connections.
And first.
No, I'm not going to press first because I'm already connected to those people for now.
Okay.
So I want to just do second connections for now. I want to pick the postal code 17325 and the nonprofit interest of board and skilled volunteering. Let's say, for instance, though, that I'm looking for a banker. I can go to industry and I can click on accounting, banking, and
Financial services.
financial services. So if I'm only looking for that, I can narrow down this by a certain industry. And then you got to scroll down here and click on search. All right. So now that we've done this, we have people that are in a particular zip code area. Now, you may ask, well, how does it know what your zip code is? Well, when you create your profile, it asks you what zip code you're in and then assigns you to a particular metropolitan area. Here's York, Pennsylvania area. Notice I have 2 shared connections with this individual. Now, she doesn't have a photo, and I'm really reluctant sometimes if you don't have a photo there. And one of the reasons I am reluctant is because I don't know if you're really utilizing LinkedIn. In a lot of cases, some people will set up their profile, but they will not update it for a long time. So I'll go into this and look at it and just kind of see. It doesn't really tell me what city that she's working in. Again, it could be that she is in Hanover or Gettysburg based on her work profile. Now, I also want to show you something here. If I click on connect, it may give me this, where it says, how do you know Vicki? And if you pick I don't know Vicki, it's not going to let you do it. Now, in some cases, you could say you're a colleague and say you're part of Civitan and so forth. But let me show you something that does work. I'm going to go back to my search. And I'm going to use the back button to go back to the search so I don't have to redo the search. Here we are. And I'm going to go ahead and pick on another one here just to look at more than one. This is a friend of Chiquay. That's a Harrisburg person. So I'm going to look at Amanda's. She's with, she has up here Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So that's a real good indicator that she's one of the ones we want to go after. And she's a branch manager at a credit union. So I like this. So I'm going to go backwards and click on connect and watch what happens. Invite sent. So if you're on the search page, it does allow you to send an invitation to these individuals. But if you're on their profile page for some reason, it won't give you that direct link to invite them to connect.
And if you do too many, it'll lock you out.
You know, and Denise just mentioned if you do too many, it can lock you out for a while. But I can tell you, I've done this at 10:30 at night. I've been working on this, and I'll do 20 at a time. I'll do searching through maybe 3 screens of different people, and we'll be able to connect with them. So I've had really, really good luck to be able to do it. Now there is another. I'm sorry. Keep on going.
That's what it will tell you.
Yeah. So there is some limitation that we're getting to. It seems to be it's a certain number per month or something like that. So don't be surprised if you do max out and then you have to wait a little while to do it some more. Now, not a lot came up here. If I want to go and say, okay, well, I got my branch manager that I want to invite. I'm going to take away banking, take away financial services, and just open this up to the general public. So you can just delete those things that you're not going to be looking at. And this opens up our doors a little bit more. This was an interesting guy. I already looked at him earlier, and he's with the Hershey Company. But when I log in here or look at his profile, I found that he is actually in Gettysburg. I don't know where I saw that, but I saw that he was in Gettysburg. Now all of a sudden I don't see that. Again, zip code would make it indicate that he is in the Gettysburg area, or could have been in when he created his profile. So that could be a little bit old. Here's Mike Green. He's in Littlestown, Pennsylvania. And so I looked at him earlier. I'm going to go ahead and select him. He's in staffing and recruiting, which I thought was kind of a neat thing to have. So I'm going to click on connect there. So you can also look at where they work at. In some cases, based on their shared connections, that can be a reason to take a look at them further. Business development manager consulting practice. It's like she was a teller and so forth. Look at her shared connections. It says Baltimore area, but it says Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, management consulting. That looks like a good one. So I'm going to go ahead and connect with Brooke. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and take a little break here. You could continue to do this. Like I said, I'll spend half hour at nighttime and just go through and try to connect. But what happens then, you'll have notifications. Yeah, and here it has Denise has accepted my invite to join the Gettysburg Hanover Civitan Club. Yay, thanks, Denise. And as you can see down here, I have connected recently with a few Civitans down here. Nancy Larson, connected with her. And a little bit further down here, here's Daniel Chetterjee, and there is another guy. This is scrolling quickly here. Walt Green. And those were 2 Gettysburg people that I recently asked to connect before this webinar. So I'm going to go and start communicating with those folks. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, up here is where you can get to your messages. Switch over to your message page. And these are LinkedIn messages that will go to their LinkedIn message. But sometimes the way that some people have their profile set up, they will have it go to their smartphone or their email as well. So I'm going to click on this little indicator right here, this icon. That is a new message. And I'm going to start typing in Walt Green. And there's Walt Green. And he has this little slogan, chances are you aren't thinking big or small enough. So I'm going to go ahead and select him. Now, as I mentioned, I have some of these statements. I guess you can't see this. It's a Word document. I'm just going to copy and paste. And this one is particular for a focus group that we're going to have for the Gettysburg Club. I'm going to paste this in here. Now, sometimes the formatting kind of gets a little jumbled. I'm going to go ahead and erase that. Make sure you change the name, because I did that one time, accidentally sent the copied information instead of the correct one. So you can kind of look that some of the paragraphs have kind of jumbled together. So it does take a little bit of time. But the first thing, I thank him for accepting my connection request. And then I say I'm on a volunteer team organizing the new nonprofit Gettysburg Hanover Civitan Club. We're planning a focus group, and we're looking for participants to provide input. Topics will include what are the needs of the community, what service projects are needed in the community, what date, time, and location would be best, and more. And we have a comment?
Mary says that she uses sticky notes on her desktop for the canned responses for Facebook or LinkedIn.
Okay, good.
So it's always there.
So you can have sticky notes on your desktop that can have these, sticky notes on your desktop. It's a little program that you can have that you can add a sticky note actually onto the computer screen, not the little ones that are the Post-it notes. And you're able to enter some typed information, and then you can copy and paste that wherever you need to. So there's some quick ways to be able to do this, and that way you don't have a lot of extra work. And then I go on to say, Civitan clubs help individuals with disabilities, seniors, youth, homeless, and hungry. We're connected to Civitan International, 501c3 worldwide service organization, the renowned Civitan International Research Center, and a foundation. The local club board is autonomous. I noticed in your LinkedIn profile that you are interested in volunteering and nonprofit board positions. We will have leadership opportunities. We are having focus groups on Wednesdays, February 22nd in Hanover, and March 1st in Gettysburg at 5:30 p.m. Please let me know if you have questions, and if you will be able to attend one or both of our focus groups, please, or feel free to invite others to attend as well. We have a group on LinkedIn and a page on Facebook under Gettysburg Hanover Civitan Club. I'll invite you to our LinkedIn group. Thanks for your consideration, and I have myself and my position in Civitan. So for you, you might want to say, Civitan Club of Frederick, and you may be treasurer, president, you could be just a member, whatever the case may be, but you want to tie it all into your organization. I'm a little wordy. Yes, I am a little wordy. You may want to cut this down a lot, but I like to get this out to them, and hopefully they'll read it. Hopefully they'll join the group. I like to do this before I invite them to the group. It's just my pattern, and I'll do 3 or 4 of these, and then I'll go to the group and then invite them. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I'm going to go ahead and click on send. By the way, there is a box here that you can press the enter key to send, and that bothers me because I end up sending it too quickly. So I uncheck that box. You are able to make some characters. You can do an attachment that's a non-photo, or you can do a photo attachment. So you can attach a flyer to this as well. I'm going to click on send. And sometimes it's a little bit easier to copy and paste from here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to avoid the name, and I'm going to copy what I put in here to Walt. And I'm going to do a second one. to Daniel. There he is, marketing consultant. And I'm going to copy and or paste it in here. And it looks like it still has some, oh, it didn't copy over the other one. Copied the first one. Oh, well. Again, sometimes you can copy and paste from another one. Let me try that again. Make sure that that worked properly. I go back to Walt's. And that looks like it came out worse than the other one. All right, so I'll change the name, Daniel. Again, thank you for accepting my connection. So you do have to go through and make some changes to the formatting, but it can save you a lot of time and efforts to be able to have it in this way. Any comments or questions, please do chat to Denise. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and send this to Daniel. All right, so I've taken care of those two. I'm going to go ahead and go to groups. Remember, you go to interests, then groups. And go to my groups to see where your group is. You click on your group name. And go right down to invite others. You can see how Denise is there now. And I can go ahead and type in Daniel. There's Daniel. And I can type in Walt. There's Walt. And I click on send. All right, as I mentioned before, you can also do a conversation or discussion is what they call it. Well, it says conversation. Sometimes they call it discussion. You can put in a title right here. And then you can put in more information down here and attach a photo. But remember, the best way is to go ahead and do an announcement. So I'm going to click on Manage. And first I want to go to Members. And I want to go ahead and make Denise an admin. So here on Members, it has Denise, and I can change the role. And I can change her to a moderator or a manager. I'm going to make her a manager. So she's like an administrator as well as myself. You can also do it up here.
You already changed me.
If I go to admins, it lists both. And back over here, we can send an announcement. And I know I've mentioned this before, but again, this is the most powerful. Now I'm going to change this. I'm going to pull up my Word document that I already have this information in here. And I've even got a title that I've already created. So I'm going to erase that and put in Gettysburg, Hanover, Civitan, new club focus groups, participants wanted. And then I'll copy something that I created earlier. And when I send this document to you, it'll also have more of a common one to say for clubs that have already been meeting. And it's similar to that email that I sent, or the message I sent. A little bit different, but pretty much the same, more generic because it's not directly to one person. And asked them to connect with me.
Are you going to be sending the script out?
Yes, I will be sending the script out to you. Again, you'll customize it for your own use. You can also follow this announcement, and you can also send yourself a test email. I do recommend doing that, especially the first time. You'll find out, oops, I forgot to put in the time or the date or something, the location perhaps. Remember, you can only do one of these announcements per week for free. So once you do this, you can't make any edits or anything to it. So keep that in mind. I don't want to send this announcement yet because I only have Denise and I in the group. So I'm hoping to get more people in this group over the weekend. So early next week, I'll probably go ahead and send this out. But this is where it's at. This is where you go to be able to get to it. All right. So we've gone over what I wanted to do on the live version. We are going almost at the end of the time. So I want to switch back to share the PowerPoint, and then we can go ahead and finish up this. Webinar. All right, here we are. This is where we were at. Again, we want you to continue this process, target new people in your community that you need in the club, like a CPA, banker to be your treasurer, nonprofits, and remember to search periodically as new second connections will emerge as you have new first connections. Keep a list of the people you are messaging and message them about once or twice a month. Respect requests for do not contact if they send you a request for that. Again, make that list of people because it can get kind of confusing on who you're recruiting for. I have a list for Gettysburg and a list for Hanover and so forth. Yes?
Mary's asking, how do you add photos or can you to a group?
How to add photos to a group. You can do it to a posting if we're talking about the, let me go ahead and go to that again.
You did. Was there, actually go to Capital Region.
Okay. We'll switch over to Capital Region and we'll show you how to post a photo. All right, so right in here, we can start a conversation. Let's say that their Monday is our next meeting. And then right down in here is like a little landscape icon. And at that point, I can put a photo. I can have a JPEG of a flyer that I can add on here. I believe that we had the salsa on here.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, there's a picture of the, yep, there's a picture of Mary. Oh, shouldn't have said who that was, but that was our picnic that we had for individuals with disabilities. It's a lot of fun. So yes, you can put photos out here. Here's the flyer. So it is a JPEG that they've added in there as a flyer. Good question, Mary. Go ahead and switch back over to the PowerPoint.
She said HIPAA. Just be careful of privacy.
Just be careful of privacy issues. Make sure that whatever you put out there is okay for you to post.
Like if you're doing clients, or if you're doing a something that has clients in it, make sure that you've got their permission to post their picture.
Yeah, for individuals with disabilities, I know that the Greater Loudon Civitan Club has a karaoke dance event every quarter, and they actually have name badges in certain colors, and those that are in certain colors cannot be photographed and so forth. So we do have to make sure that we're not showing people that should not be on websites or photographed at all. I recommend you create an announcement to the group at least monthly. Remember, you can do that once a week for free. Create awareness to professionals in your community. In one case, I had a person for Harrisburg that didn't join the club, but he works for a grocery store. And when we needed donations for a particular event, he donated a $100 gift card. So in some cases, they may not become members, but they may be great resources for you because of their professional industry. Ask connections to join your club. Next step, another thing is to ask your own club members if they're on LinkedIn, or when you're talking to potential members, ask them if they're on LinkedIn. Ask members and potential members to be a connection. Create the club group page. Ask members and potential members to join your group. Search for potential connections and invite them to connect, invite them to go to join the group. Create posts, upload photos and flyers. Create announcements for meetings, projects, and socials. Message members and potential members, so using the messaging feature. Keep a list so you can keep track of everybody. In fact, I keep a list of who I invited to connect, and then I indicate that they did connect, and then I go through and do this process with them and keep track of the messages. Email members and ask them to like and share the announcements and posts. So like in Facebook, once you have posted an announcement or a discussion, you want to email your members and make sure that they're out there liking it and sharing it. Also, these are great posts and announcements you can do. March 17th is 100th birthday for Civitan, good awareness. April is Civitan Awareness Month. June is Civitan International Centennial Convention. And the best recruitment meeting months are April and August, September, as I discussed last week, especially if your club is having projects soon after. So these are great ways to get ready for those recruitment meetings. Also in the next steps, just added, we have a new webinar, Successful Recruiting at Fairs and Festivals. Danny Uri is a good friend of Denise's, and she's the founder and director of sales and marketing of TotsToTweens.com. It's an event planning and website company, and whether you have a Civitan booth for awareness, sharing Civitan, getting volunteers, or doing fundraising, or some or all of the above, Danny will share tips and tricks on how to make the most of your exhibiting at a fair or festival. It's Saturday, February 25th at 4 p.m., and some clubs are going to have the opportunity to participate in some of her events in April, so it'd be a great thing to go to. Come to the webinar and then see what the opportunities are. And let's connect. Again, Mark Eisinger, and my email is there, my phone number, my Facebook, and my LinkedIn. So if you do have a LinkedIn page, please do link me in to your group page and have a connection there. And at this point, it's time for Q&A. So if you do have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those and demonstrate or whatever the case may be.
Do you want to show them sticky notes really quick? How they search for that in there?
I'm not a sticky note user, so I may have to get a little guidance from you, Denise.
Can I share that screen? My screen?
Let me see if I can do that. Stop share. I can make you a host, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay, now you're a host. You should be able to share now.
Alrighty. And what do I do? Oh, share screen.
There you go.
Okay. All right, guys. So if you see down here where it says type or speak to me, you can search there, sticky notes, and at the Trusted Windows App Store, it'll come up. Click on it, and as you can see on my screen, I have a ton of sticky notes. I am a sticky note user. So, but it will download the app into your computer, and then you can just go straight into your app store or your menu, whatever you use. Scroll down into sticky notes, and it'll pull it up and allow you to use them. And then you can just, when you click on one, if you want a new sticky note, just hit the plus button. It'll come over, and then you can type in whatever you want, and that will stay on your desktop until you hit it in the trash. So that's it. Pretty easy.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Now, she's on Windows 10, and now that she just showed me that, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can go ahead and do it on Windows 7.
Oh, and may I remind me, once you have it downloaded, then you want to go in, you want to open it and put it in your toolbar so that that's down at the bottom of your screen to access whenever you want.
Wonder if you can get it from here. No, I don't see it there. And I have a different thing, but you should have possibly where you can type in a search if you have an earlier version of Windows. Sticky. There's sticky notes. And there it is. All right, very good. Good to know. All right, any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. We will send out another survey about this webinar as well as the link for the recording. Really do appreciate the responses we've had. We've had probably about 75% of the participants responding and had some great ideas. I've reached out to a few of you that have had some ideas that I wanted to expand on. So again, I do appreciate that. The recording will be available, and I do hope that you will log in and or let me know that you'll want to log into that webinar on February 25th, the Fairs and Festivals exhibit. So we'll be on for a few more minutes if you have any other questions. Otherwise, have a great rest of the Saturday and rest of the weekend. And thanks for joining us for this Chesapeake Civitan District Recruitment Webinar on LinkedIn. Thanks a lot.
Linda said thank you.